new Sony body just popped up in Indonesia under the code of WW824259. The registration is listed as a digital camera and it's built in Thailand, the exact same manufacturing location as the Sony A7V. Coincidence? We think not. All signs are pointing towards this camera, this registration, being the A7V. And based on the typical certification to launch time, we're hoping to see an announcement before Christmas, with the first units hitting the shelves in early Q1, sometime before the end of February. Will Sony reuse the same 33 megapixel sensor from the parts bin, or will they give the sensor a complete overhaul? Subscribe as we get right to the information. Your subscription means more to us than when your toast falls on the ground, butter side up. Hi, I'm Simon, your friendly Sony news hunter, scanning the news and rumor sites so that you don't have to, freeing up all your important time for more important things, like sitting in your local garage and waiting for them to change out your tires for snow tires. Today we're unpacking what this certification actually confirms, what it doesn't, and why Made in Thailand aligns with the A7 lineage, and what photographers and filmmakers should realistically expect between November reveal, or a November reveal, and shipments early Q1. Certifications like this one don't give us any specifications other than the type of Wi-Fi. They do confirm the product category, the model code, and where it's produced. Plus, the most important thing is that the camera is moving through the approval gates. Now, registration code WW824959 is the code given to a Sony digital camera that's made in Thailand, and it's consistent with the A7V's production and strongly hints that this is the A7V based on what we know about Sony's mirrorless camera lines. These filings usually surface a few weeks before launch at the earliest, which does line up with the mid-November announcement window. However, we have seen some cameras announced a whole year after registration, and this started to happen sometime after 2020. Still, a window of 1 to 3 months is typical, so this could happen October. It could also happen November, but outside of November, outside the middle of November, it's going to happen in Q1. In the A7 line, Sony typically iterates where it counts. Autofocus, processing, throughput, and video usability. Expect better subject recognition, stickier tracking in low light, and faster processing to tame that noise and rolling shutter. We can also expect to see that new, well, not so new now, but the new AI processing unit that debuted with the A7R5. In terms of ergonomics, we may see small tweaks, but I don't expect to see a ground-up design based on the leaks from Sony Alpha rumors. I mean, it looks identical to the A7IV, doesn't it? Sensor choice is a big unknown. Sony could stay at 33 megapixels like the A7IV, or Sony could drop in a new sensor with a different resolution, or a completely new and overhauled 33 megapixel sensor, as 30 to 33 megapixels is kind of the sweet spot in this segment. And also, give it that partially stacked design that Nikon debuted with their Z6 Mark III. That would give us a faster readout speed, reduce rolling shutter, and enable higher frame rates or deeper buffers. Benefits for action photographers or wildlife photographers that shoot, well, stills for photographers and video for videographers. Sony, if you're listening, and I know it's too late to change the design, but a faster 33 megapixel sensor, a redesigned, a more architecturally efficient sensor would certainly hit the sweet spot. Getting that detail without the jello cam when we pan or have fast-moving subjects moving through the frame. Well, as baseball is in the playoffs, when you're swinging that bat, the last thing you want to see is the hands here and the bat all the way back here in kind of a wet noodle approach. And one more thing, please support a frame rate of faster than 10 frames per second. At least give us 20 frames per second. Even sub $1,000 Canon cameras can do this, approaching all the way up to 30 frames per second, although they do have a 1-second buffer. Now, for filmmakers, useful upgrades aren't just headline codecs. We need monitoring and exposure tools. And Sony, I really need you to listen to us here, because things like waveforms, false colors, EL zone, and reliable open gate options, And also, clean 10-bit workflows, those aren't something that your customers aren't interested in. Those are things your customers would love to have. I can tell you from using those and from many professionals, and as we're starting to see more of these cameras like the A7S III, the A7 IV actually entering into professional workflows because they're smaller compact cameras that work well in cars, there's more demand for these sorts of capabilities. And pair that with a faster readout, a solid thermal behavior, and the A7 V becomes, well, a huge step forward. However, based on what a Sony rep recently said, it's unlikely that we're going to see these video capabilities, at least if this Sony rep was in the know.
Right now, Sony's stance, according to this rep that we spoke to, was that features like false color, EL zones, and OpenGate don't get used much, so they don't see a lot of value in implementing them.
The A7 V, when it's announced, is going to be like the A7 IV, an all-rounder, a camera that bridges professional with hobbyist, allowing us to shoot weddings, events, travel, corporate, and of course YouTube. Balanced resolution, strong autofocus, dependable in-body image stabilization, and flexible video without overheating. It doesn't need to be an A1 or an FX series camera. It just needs to outperform the A7 IV and the competition, which is looking pretty good with the Z6 Mark III, and Canon's R6 Mark III also due out. It has to outperform them in speed, rolling shutter, control, usability, and when it comes to the autofocus system, it's not just about being faster. It's being able to track subjects as they're doing different things. And if we're doing sports, to be able to track the subject that has possession and not lock onto the ball, but onto the eyes of the subject that's running with the ball. Now, if the launch lands mid-November, early reviews should follow soon thereafter, with broader availability from January into February. And if you currently hold the A7 IV or maybe an A7 III, an A7 II, hold on to your upgrade until we can see what the rolling shutter numbers are, the autofocus reliability is in low light, and whether those monitoring tools make the cut. And yes, here's my best attempt to persuade Sony to give us a 33 megapixel partially stacked sensor. Now, if this works and we get those exposure tools, I'm taking credit. And if it doesn't, we never spoke about this and we never will. That's the filing, the timeline and the wish list. I'd like to welcome, once again, I did this yesterday, European camera retailer Photocop, which has 110 years of experience in the professional camera world. And I hope my enunciation is getting better. Now, if you're in Europe and you're interested in pre-ordering the Sony A7V when it comes out, when it's announced, when it's available, or if you're looking at shopping around for other camera gears, maybe the A7 IV, an A7 III, or even an A7 II, well, then consider using my affiliate links down below. Again, for Europe, I have Photocop, and in the UK, I have Wex, and in the United States, we have Adorama and B&H. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch this video. Your support is very much appreciated. This channel is, well, viewer supported. We don't use any sponsorships because we just want to get the facts, the information out to you, present it to you, and not worry about what videos we have to put out this week to be able to satisfy our sponsors. It's all about delivering what you need. And if you've got ideas for videos, then please let me know. If you have information, if you've overheard something regarding any cameras or lenses coming out soon that our viewers would be interested in, then drop me a note at simondyates@gmail.com, as I'm sure everybody would be happy to hear about it. I'm Simon, the Ordinary Filmmaker. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.